Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Hughes, and I'm Head of Research and Insight at FMCG Gurus. Today's presentation is entitled Addressing the Dietary Habits of Baby Boomers. We're going to look at a very important demographic, but one that's often underlooked from a health and wellness perspective. We're going to look at how baby boomers evaluate their health, what their health goals are for the next 12 months, what their attitudes to dietary habits are, both in terms of everyday food, functional and plant-based. And we're going to look at some of the challenges faced by the industry when targeting this demographic. The presentation will last approximately 20 minutes and will be available for download after the event. Alternatively, you can contact myself or a couple of my colleagues immediately after this. So just to give you an overview, we know across the globe society is aging. While society is continuing to age, healthy living is lagging. In Europe, for example, the average person lives to approximately 78, but figures show that healthy aging, they only live till around 70 years, and the last 8 years they're in a bit of discomfort. Now, the reality is anyone in their late 70s, early 80s, etc., are never going to have the quality of life of a 20-year-old, no matter how much quinoa they have in their daily diet. But the fact is, it shows that there's an opportunity to target this market with products that help aid and maintain quality of life in their latter years. Now, currently, baby boomers, those aged 55 plus, deem themselves to be in good health, more so than Generation Z and millennials. And this is something that's always really interesting for me, because when we evaluate attitudes towards health, I always kind of assumed that, Gen Z, the 18 to 22-year-olds, would be a lot more confident with their health rather than the baby boomers. And actually, the reverse is true, where younger adults tend to be a bit more conscious of their health. They realize that their diets and lifestyles may impact the risk of long-term health problems, where, in comparison, baby boomers are more confident. There can be a number of reasons for this. Firstly, they can be content with their health in general. They may also have came out of the pandemic relatively unscathed and have confidence about their immune system, or they could actually feel that they've lived into a certain time of their life and not suffered any health problems, so therefore are in good health. When it comes to health, they tend to be more proactive, especially females. We tend to see sometimes males can still be a little bit reactionary, especially when it comes to topics such as emotional wellness. And the baby boomers are actually the demographic who are most likely to say that their health has improved in the last 2 years, again showing that they perhaps put a bit more urgency into their well-being during the pandemic. This is actually something that could actually work as a barrier for the health and wellness market, because if all the consumers are kind of generally satisfied with their health, they may be less inclined to seek out these products. So here what we're going to do is to look at ways to target them. Now, baby boomers are a key audience for the health and wellness market, particularly in a time of economic uncertainty. There's numerous reasons for this. One, it's a demographic that's growing, and I saw a figure recently. It said in the UK, for example, by 2040, there will be more households that contain grandparents than there will children under the age of 15. So again, it shows how society is changing from a structural perspective. This demographic has a good level of disposable income. We know that the silver spend is something that's growing in importance, and some figures here that are taken at the beginning of the year show that baby boomers are significantly less likely to feel that they will have to make adjustments to their health and wellness routines because of rising prices. So it shows that in a time of an era of uncertainty, this is a group that are willing to trade up. Now, we talk about baby boomers overall, but I think when we talk about health needs, we also need to mention again, a market that's very underrepresented, and that's postmenopausal females. Again, a market that's growing, and we've done research that shows this demographic suffers significant health problems that impact on their quality of life, but kind of lack awareness of those certain food and drink products that are out there on the market that could help maintain quality of life to some extent. Now, the first message is that when targeting the senior demographic, it's crucial that marketing is done in an exclusive way. It's not seen to be alienating certain demographics, and it's not positioning aging in a negative way. And sometimes when the research that we show, it shows that the kind of baby boomer can feel that sometimes, brands either overlook them, there's a lack of available products, or they position aging in a negative way. They associate it with vulnerability, with poor health. And the reality is, no matter how old somebody is, they don't like being reminded that they're old. So it's kind of a real need to tone the message down. Now, baby boomers are more interested in addressing their health in general, and this is some research that shows what the priority is for consumers over the next 12 months, comparing baby boomers to society overall. What was really interesting is when it comes to specific health issues such as digestive health, mental well-being, sleep health, for instance, the kind of when you name something specific, it was younger consumers who tended to say that they wanted to address this area, where baby boomers were noticeably more likely to say their health overall. And again, this shows that, you know, those old age 55 plus do accept that they might have some like health problems day to day that impacts on their quality of life. But instead, what they want to do is to stay fit and active. They want to reverse those stereotypes associated with aging, and they want to adopt a forever young ethos. So as a result of that, they kind of take this holistic approach to health and want to address their wellness overall. So this means that from a product perspective, multiple health claims will be really important to them. They're not going to go out and buy one product for one specific issue. One thing to also say is that addressing emotional wellness is deemed just as important to baby boomers as it is physical health. You know, they recognize the issue of good mental well-being, their good sleep health. We'll show later on that they recognize that there's that kind of link between the gut, immune and cognitive axis. So again, you know, when we talk about emotional wellness, sometimes we can think that it's perhaps a trait more associated with younger people, but that's not the case at all. So as a result of this, the baby boomers are making changes to their dietary habits to try and maintain this quality of life and stay fit and active until as late as possible. Now, we also ask consumers what they associated with being a healthy diet. A phrase diet obviously being something very subjective in nature. And again, it shows some very interesting differences between baby boomers and society overall. For example, baby boomers were more likely to say attached to the importance of eating a variety of food and drink in moderation, including the occasional treat. And that's something that's really important in an era of uncertainty. You know, consumers don't want to feel guilty for enjoying those moments of escapism, be it with family and friends or purely for escapism to deal with the pressures of everyday life. So they see healthy eating as a life stage goal. They don't see it as a short-term issue. And as a result of that, it's really important that better for you products are seen to be compromise-free and hassle-free. And that's really crucial, both in sense of the ingredients, but also, as was alluded to in the previous presentations, and I'm no doubt an underlying theme throughout this event, is that the products also have to taste good, particularly for repeat purchases. It doesn't matter how functional your product is. It doesn't matter how effective it is. If it doesn't taste good, the baby boomers won't buy them again. Baby boomers are also focused on the avoidance and moderation of dietary evils, and as we'll see at a slide later on, this is something that's a greater priority to them than positive nutrition and seeking out functional foods. They're still very adopt that a traditional approach, monitoring calories, monitoring sugar intake, monitoring fat intake, as opposed to seeking out products that are enriched with protein. But then at the same time, they're also more likely to adopt traditional dietary habits in terms of structured meal plans. We see, for example, there baby boomers are significantly less likely to avoid non-essential eating occasions, 35% compared to 29% overall. It shows that, you know, again, baby boomers are more likely to try and improve their health by adopting structured dietary plans as opposed to meal skipping and blurring the boundaries between snacks and meals. So what this means is, again, there's a real opportunity to target those core occasions such as breakfast, lunch and dinner, as opposed to those kind of substitute products that blur the boundaries between meals and snacks. Then we also asked consumers what kind of food and drink do they turn to boost their health. And it showed that, again, baby boomers were significantly more likely to say that they turn to fruit and vegetables compared to consumers overall. There can be a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, they're products that they know and trust. They'll have been brought up for many years believing these products to be the healthiest, most nutritious, and they realise that back to basic products that they know and trust and associate with being nutritious is important. It also shows that they tend to have more time on their hands. You know, they may be retired, their children have grown up and left the parental home, so they have more time to engage in scratch cooking, which again shows that there's a real opportunity to target these consumers with core ingredients. We also know that baby boomers are significantly more likely to turn to fish compared to consumers overall. And again, I think there's two reasons for this. Firstly, senior consumers associate omega fatty acids with a variety of benefits, both physical and emotive, and are overwhelmingly more likely to associate this with fish than, say, plant-based. And secondly, we know that seniors tend to be less likely to be following plant-based diets compared to their younger counterparts. So again, it shows up as a real opportunity in fish there. Now, what we've seen as well, we're going to see from the next slide, is we mentioned that consumers are taking a proactive approach to their dietary habits, but they're more likely to be making changes to their everyday food and drink habits as opposed to seeking out functional products. And as this research shows here on the left-hand side, there's a considerable drop-off, around 15%, in terms of the proportion of consumers who say that they actively look for food and drink with health-added benefits between Generation X and baby boomers. Now, this shows to me Generation X, who are classified as 39 to 54 years old, are at that stage of their life where they're going, actually, I can't do the things that I used to do 20 years ago. You know, life's catching up with me. I've got these aches and pains that have come out of nowhere. And as a result of this, they're a really core audience for functional products, those products that offer that convenient health benefit. Whereas baby boomers will, again, there's that little bit of acceptance about aches and pains and the tendency to turn to products that they know and trust. However, there's also two key issues which can prevent consumers from turning to functional foods, particularly seniors. Firstly is a lack of education and awareness. We've done research before and it shows that older consumers, for example, tend to see high protein products as something more associated with younger people. They're associated with energy. They're associated with fast-paced lifestyles. They look at these products and associate it with people who go to the gym. But actually, you know, we know that 55-year-olds need more protein in their diet than the average person because of the risk of muscle loss and other problems. So at a time when these consumers feel that the product isn't for them, it's actually when they need it the most. And this isn't anything to do with the functionality. It's to deal with the taste. It's actually to think that the industry focuses so much on 18 to 34-year-olds, who, of course, are an important market, but they forgot that the 55-year-olds are a much bigger market. They're growing. They've got more disposable income. They feel underrepresented in the market, and they generally need these ingredients. And sometimes it's not a case of radical innovation. Sometimes it's just toning the message down with marketing and saying, this product's actually for everyone. It tastes good. It's got these ingredients. We're not positioning this product as a magic bullet health solution. You know, you've got to use it as part of an overall balanced and healthy lifestyle. But in fact, ingredients such as fiber, omega, vitamin C, protein, etc., are really important. And I think that's sometimes a really quick trick that the industry can focus on, you know, toning down that message. One other thing as well with functional products is to really emphasize that issue of prevention over cure. Because sometimes baby boomers can think, why should I buy this product? Because how do I measure the effectiveness? And sometimes that's really, really difficult to measure the effectiveness, particularly if you're not suffering symptoms. But again, if you can make this product taste great and you can educate consumers, you can really push home this message of prevention over cure and saying, actually, if you have this amount of nutrients and ingredients in your diet, we're not saying it's going to fundamentally change your health, but we're going to say it's going to reduce the risk. Now, baby boomers also remain highly attentive to ingredient lists and want information to be transparent as possible. So 59% say that they become more attentive to ingredient listings over the last 12 months, identical to society overall. And 64%, near identical to consumers, say that they're concerned about ingredients disguised via complex labeling. Now, as mentioned, avoidance and moderation is more important to the baby boomer than positive nutrition. And I think when I've walked around this absolutely great event over the last day and a half, I think there's been a real move towards wholesomeness, towards sustainability, towards responsibility, towards clean label. We're seeing that continuous movement away from being less processed, real and authentic ingredients and products that are good for the individual, good for the producer, and good for the environment. And this is really important because it's exactly what the baby boomer wants. They want to be able to pick up a product and be able to make an informed decision about the nutritional profile of a product in a matter of seconds. It doesn't matter if the product's not the healthiest. They engage in debit and credit when it comes to healthy eating. What they're less accepting of is feeling that they're being misled over the nutritional profile of a product because of deliberately complex labeling designed to hide certain ingredients and formulation, namely sugar. So consumers want to see stream from ingredients. They want to see free from claims. They want associations of wholesomeness and purity. And it really goes back to that back to basic notion of healthy eating that baby boomers adopt that we saw a couple of slides back. And again, that's a really key message where you can take to any product category and say, actually, just by focusing on the quality of ingredients as opposed to radical innovation, you can encourage consumers to change their perceptions, what they associate with a brand, a category, or even a whole sector, and just continue to focus on the quality of ingredients and show consumers that it's a little bit better for you. Now, baby boomers are also just as likely to be following a free from dietary plan as, again, younger consumers. So again, what typical claims you like to see in product packaging? There's absolute minimal difference between gluten-free and lactose-free. And again, I think that's a really important message. It shows that these products shouldn't just be targeted at a younger demographic who are following a free-from diet. Older consumers are just as likely to have allergies and intolerances. They're also just as likely to recognize that they may have digestive sensitivity. We know that older consumers can suffer from digestive health problems for various reasons. Some are out of their control. The reality is, as you get older, it can be difficult to digest. They also realize that some of these digestive health problems may be self-inflicted. But when we asked baby boomers what they associate with good digestive health, it was about having regular bowel movements and the ability to digest food. They also recognize that link between the gut, immunity, and cognitive health. And as we know, there's been so much research going into the gut microbiome at the moment that this is only going to be something that intensifies over the next decade. So again, it shows up there's a real opportunity to target baby boomers with products that are positioned around free from claims and promoting digestive sensitivity. Again, it's something that really needs to be done in a positive way and not being seen to be positioned in healthy aging in something of a negative way. Now, one trend that we do know is older consumers are less likely to be following a diet around the avoidance or moderation of plant-based products. We see there the proportion of consumers who say that they follow a diet around around animal-based products. 55% are more likely to be following an animal-based diet, significantly lower than Generation Z. And there's a number of reasons for this. Firstly, older consumers can sometimes feel that plant-based products are not for them. They kind of have this view that they're for these cool, trendy 18 to 34-year-olds who like to blog on social media. But at a time of food shortages, plant-based products are for everyone. And if you can tone the message down and just say, hey, this is a product that tastes great, it's got nutritional value, which is something that we're seeing through a lot of the innovation around here, and it's affordable. That's something that's going to appeal to consumers. We know that baby boomers are also concerned over the sensory appeal of products, and they're also concerned about the nutritional value. Maybe be worried, for example, that they're missing out on vitamins such as vitamin B12. So as a result of this, and this is particularly important at a time when the plant-based market has seen a bit of stagnation after a couple of years of really good growth, the plant industry needs to kind of step back and say, right, okay, how do we target the late adopters? We targeted Gen Z, we target the millennials, but how do we target consumers who simply say our product's not for them? And again, it's not necessarily about radical innovation. It's not about fundamentally changing formulation. It's continuing to work on the sensory aspect of products, and we've seen so much of a jump in that in the last decade. It's about continuing to work on the nutritional profile, something that we know that, for example, innovations in protein hybrids is helping address. And it's also about saying, actually, these products can really help you from a dietary perspective, and they are for you, just toning that message around. And again, there's some real opportunities around there, around fortification and protein hybrids, that's going to be really exciting, and something I'm sure we'll see more of over the next decade. Now, again, another really important topic is mood boosting and cognitive health. And our research shows that baby boomers tend to be a lot more conscious of their cognitive health than Generation Z. For example, if Generation Z feel tired, they feel a bit confused, they're getting a bit forgetful, they'll probably think it's because they're working too hard, they're socializing too hard. It's nothing that can't be addressed by perhaps cutting down on alcohol for a couple of weeks, getting a good night's sleep, and just something that is an absolute, consequence of their fast-paced lifestyle. In comparison, baby boomers, when they look at things such as slurring words, forgetfulness, and inability to concentrate, they can be really conscious about this because they may feel that not only is it impacting their quality of life, it's causing feelings of embarrassment. but it's something that may highlight a slowdown in their overall health and wellness, making them vulnerable to disease and illness. We also know that older consumers are stepping back and reprioritizing where they are in their life. They're at that stage of the life cycle where they step back and they're saying, what's important to me? So they're putting more emphasis on non-material wealth, the basic principle of happiness. We know mood boosting is going to be a big trend over the next couple of years. You know, consumers wanting products that make them feel happy, that make them feel revitalized, but they're also realizing time is a really precious commodity. So they're looking to maximize those personal relationships, and they just kind of want those feelings of happiness. And again, it shows there's going to be a really opportunity from an ingredient, a benefit and a claims perspective where you can say, look, you know, these ingredients offer you an energy boost, particularly as baby boomers can sometimes be conscious of traditional energy boosting products. You know, this energy ingredient is safe and it's sustainable and it's clean. Hydration is something that will become really important. Mood enhancing, and again, products that boost mood and overall cognitive ability, such as being able to concentrate and being able to focus. So that concludes my presentation today. Thank you very much for listening. As mentioned, this presentation will be available for distribution after the events. You can also grab me directly afterwards or my two colleagues there, and we'll be more than happy to take your details. And I would now like to open the floor to questions and answers.
Thank you so much, Mike. So much information. Wow. Does anyone have a question for Mike? You haven't had a chance to digest all that information yet. I have a question for you, Mike, which is, it's about, you're going to hate me for this. You know, how do we get these people's attention? How do we do it right? How do we, you know?
Well, I think if it was easy, nobody'd be here. So look, you know, you've got two issues. You've got skepticism towards the health and wellness industry. You know, sometimes older consumers can sometimes believe these products are positioned as magic bullet health solutions, that the claims are a bit too outlandish. And you've also got the real challenge of sometimes a 70-year-old who feels that they're in good health, feeling they don't need a 25-year-old marketer to tell them how to live a healthy life. So there's that skepticism. There's that routine and inertia. I know what a healthy diet is. We follow this for generations. I'm not going to fundamentally change. We also have the third issue that they think actually these products are aimed at 18 to 34-year-olds. Now, my view is it's not actual radical innovation. I think sometimes we focus so much on trying to be clever in the industry, we forget the basics approach. And that is we're saying actually focus on everyday product categories. Which product categories are going to be more influential? Cereal, juice, meat, those kind of basic commodities that everybody has in their everyday lifestyle. I don't think the baby boomers are going to be a core market for functional gummies, for example. But I think if you go to those everyday product categories, so firstly, you get your positioning right. Secondly, you educate in a positive way. You kind of don't say, hey, you know, we know that you're really vulnerable to illness because people don't like that. But you can position products and say, look, you know, if you just have these ingredients, this incremental change can reduce your risk of these health problems significantly. You then tone the marketing down as well and say, actually, these products for everyone, you know, if you want to pick a product, a functional product, and say, hey, you know, this product helps boost your mood, your energy, don't stick a skier on there or an M&A fighter or something like that, because then people go, that's for younger people. Yeah. So again, it's about toning the message down, about the education around the ingredients, about targeting those core categories.
No, absolutely. I know, because you and I are both in the UK, so I hope it doesn't feel irrelevant to the audience. But in the UK, personalized nutrition is becoming a huge thing. Zoe is, you know, the headline one. But we know there are many initiatives out there that many people are saying personalized nutrition is the future. Is that going to apply to baby boomers?
Personalized nutrition is a very, very complex thing. And again, I think the innovation should be incremental rather than radical. You know, we focused on nutrition, genetic testing, and all these innovations that might hit the market in 10 years. I think sometimes we have to remember that the food and drink industry there is not there to prevent people from illness. It's there to minimize the risk, but we don't have to fundamentally change people's health. I also think there's a real ethical implication of, you know, you being able to work out somebody's health over the next 10 years. You know, it's a genuine question. If you could be tested now and be told will you be alive in 20 years' time? Would people want that? I don't think people will. So I think, sometimes we focus too much on this radical concept and we forget that whilst the technology is there, the acceptance of it will lag behind. However, what I do think we can do, there'll be diagnosis with the gut microbiome of what we can do. There's continuous development, there's education. And instead, it's just simply developing your product portfolio and saying this product is for this solution. So rather than a one-size-fits-all, just saying, actually, what we can do is we can understand you, we can look at some general things and not try and over-complement it, not potentially look to be trying to play God, not stepping on ethical boundaries, and instead just say, actually, this product is more personalized for you, but again, position it in a positive way.
So it's about speaking to the consumer in an informed and personal way.
Absolutely. It's about simply understanding the needs and responsiveness and saying, actually, you know what? We've done some research. We understand you. We get what you're about, and positioning the product in that way rather than offering something that might be deemed a bit too radical.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Well, Mike, we've run out of time. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause for Mike Hughes?
Thank you very much. Thank you.